I'm Tom, I'm invested in the Cosmere, and this is my full review of the Cosmere RPG. Before we begin, I want to say a big thank you to the Brotherwise team. They provided me with free, early access to the campaign materials. This allowed me to get these videos ready for launch and made it incredibly difficult to make all the videos that I've been working on leading up to launch, since I couldn't work any of the things that I knew into those until these release videos came out. It was a challenge, but I managed to do it, and thank you so much to Brotherwise for giving me the opportunity to try. I'm Tom, I'm invested in the Cosmere, and this is my review and first impressions on the Stormlight World Guide from the Cosmere RPG. Throughout this video, I'm going to use the phrases World Guide and World Book interchangeably. At some point, I got World Book stuck in my head, and I constantly reference that, so I can't break myself of this habit. So World Guide means World Book. They're the same thing. The official title of the book is the Stormlight World Guide. So that's what it is, but I'm going to use World Book occasionally. The World Guide is a Cosmere RPG supplement covering Roshar and its people, detailing everything a game master needs to know about the lore to run a successful campaign. There are 8 chapters in total, with 2 appendices, totaling 270 pages. In terms of spoilers, the book mostly details the world of Roshar as it was known prior to Wind and Truth, but does contain some pretty major spoilers for the entire series. If you're still on your journey through the Stormlight Archive, you're going to get some things spoiled for you. For example, Chapter 4 covers the history of Roshar, which includes a general overview of the series, straight through to the end of Wind and Truth. This book is very geared towards the Cosmere RPG. When we first learned that the game would come with a world guide for Roshar, I had imagined something that was more meant to be an independent supplement to the Stormlight Archive. If you're planning on picking up this book but not playing the Cosmere RPG, know that there are some game mechanic-based pieces of content here. For example, Chapter 8 is a list of adversaries and their stat blocks to be used in the game, in addition to a description of what that creature is. As a side note, you might get exposed to spoilers and the like throughout the course of this video as I incorporate screenshots from the book. Before we dive into those chapters, know that I won't be discussing all aspects of the content covered in the books. My goal is to give you an overview of what to expect from the book's contents. If you want the details for yourself, you'll need to grab a copy of your own. Chapter 1 covers the world of Roshar and its ecology, along with some broad strokes on the Rosharan people, culture, and technology. What's great about many aspects of this book, but this chapter in particular, is how plainly the information is presented. Having lists of common types of spren and their attributes is incredibly handy as a resource, and this section is particularly brimming with this type of knowledge. Some of what we see in this chapter and in others are repeated and even explored more in depth in the Stormlight Handbook, and vice versa. This chapter covers the major nations and peoples of Roshar. It's a great resource for those planning to roleplay from a specific part of Roshar, by giving you the background that you'll need in one convenient package. The level of detail that the book delves into for each culture is fantastic, covering everything from their basic government structure, culture and religion, and even military capabilities. While every culture has the basics, some have unique pieces of information special to those cultures. You didn't know you wanted a Herdasian dictionary, but you're getting one and you're going to love it. I would highly recommend a deep dive into this section for both players and game masters, since both will benefit from a common background on the cultures and their place on Roshar. Chapter 3 covers the Cosmere as a whole and the religions of Roshar. We start with the broad overview of Adalnalcium, the Shattering, and the Shards, before moving on to Roshar as a planet and other planets within the known Cosmere. We'll then take a deep dive into the 3 shards that have taken up on Roshar: Honor, Odium, and Cultivation. From there, we get details on the Heralds, as well as the breakdowns of several major religions still active on Roshar. I think this is a fantastic chapter for more of the casual fans who are aware of the larger stakes that are going on within the connected books and want a consolidated walkthrough of the Cosmere and how it's affecting Roshar. The chapter on the history of Roshar covers everything from when humans arrived to Roshar during the expulsion to the true desolation in modern Roshar. This chapter does a great job at taking the hints and glimpses we've been given into the past throughout the Stormlight Archive and putting it into a single coherent thought. As I said at the top of this video, there are massive spoilers in this section. Reading the entire history of Roshar details the major plot points of the books, including the end of Wind and Truth. It's a fantastic overview for the books, if you're familiar with the story, but new readers should be careful on how deep they delve. Chapter 5 is really interesting. It's a dual-purpose chapter, acting as both a lore dump on some of the main characters and organizations of the Stormlight Archive, but also includes a game master's guide into including them into the campaign. The chapter focuses on these characters as they were right after Oathbringer, so it's definitely geared towards the Stonewalkers campaign, which is set at the beginning of Words of Radiance. The Cosmere RPG mechanics at play here is the Patron system, or a framework for players to interact and earn the trust of major characters in the story. It includes ideas on how to interact with those characters, their motivations, and certain advantages that might be gained by allying with them. This chapter is another RPG-focused overview, covering points of interest that will make for interesting places to take an adventuring party. The chapter focuses on areas in conflict during the timeline in the campaign, and gives plot hook ideas for how to build an adventure in those areas. From a lore perspective, the book outlines interesting facts about locations, the culture, and the government about the cities and locations shared throughout the chapter. The chapter on Shadesmar covers a broad range of topics for adventuring in the cognitive realm. There's plenty of great lore to be consumed on the flora, fauna, and inhabitants of the realm, including a very detailed breakdown of Spren and their behaviors in Shadesmar. For game masters, there are rules and advice on adventuring in Shadesmar, along with ideas of how to get around and who you might encounter during your visit. This chapter has some lore that I don't recall seeing in other places or from the books at all, so those well invested in the Cosmere will want to spend some time here, even if they don't actually plan on playing the Cosmere RPG. For example, what happens when you bring a Fabrial into Shadesmar? Finally, we have several appendices, including the index of terms and reference guides to the different stat blocks shared throughout the book. Most importantly, there is a pronunciation guide, forever silencing the debates between audiobook listeners and readers. It's Yasna. Yasna. Officially. Canon. Now, do a Elantris setting so we can finally settle the pronunciation of Raoden. I don't know what I was expecting when I first heard about the World Guide. What I thought the World Guide was going to be was this almost encyclopedia of Roshar and the Stormlight Archive. I thought it was going to be a very sort of generic, independent of the RPG guide to Roshar that took you through all the big plot points, all the lore, and is a deep dive. And it is that. It is that. There's definitely some parts of the story and of characters and of the cultures on Roshar, the ecology, that it gets into depth into, and does a great job at putting it into plain English, right? Like throughout these books, you get these little teases of lore, and you get side conversations, and you get hints. And if you take the time to extract that and string that all together, well, that's what people like the Coppermind and 17th Shard, like that's what they do. They're big lore buffs, and they can kind of draw all of these lines together and come up with these fan theories that Sanderson's great at, leaning into and answering and participating in. That has made this whole series, and just the Cosmere in general, the amazing sort of fandom to be a part of. That isn't for everybody, though. Like, so many of the friends that I have who read the Cosmere love to hear about this stuff, but don't have the fortitude for the multiple rereads to draw all the lines and connections, or to just truck through every single book in succession so that you can pick up all of these things. They love the Cosmere, but they don't love diving deep into the Cosmere. They appreciate that the depth is there, but it can be difficult to penetrate if you don't spend a ton of time into it. And what the World Book, I'm going to keep messing up World Book and World Guide, whatever it is. The World Guide does that in plain English. It lays it out. What I wasn't expecting was how much influence from the Cosmere RPG it would pull in. The World Guide isn't just an encyclopedia for Roshar, it's also in part in-depth instructions for game masters who want to incorporate deeper story and lore, characters, places into their campaigns. And it gives you campaign mechanics, tables, and the like, rules to follow and accomplish that. So it wasn't quite what I expected in that way. It's great. It's amazing. It's laid out beautifully. The artwork is just to die for. Honestly, like if I could just have this artwork in and around my house, I would be super happy. It's unlike anything we've seen. I mean, there's so much great artwork in the books already. This just expands that to a tremendous degree. But you know, it did defy my expectations a little bit in that it is more of a game master's guide to the lore. It is maybe the way that I would phrase it. And that might change your opinion about whether or not you choose to invest in it if you haven't already. I think it is great. It's a fantastic part. The one like caveat and warning, if you didn't catch it in the beginning of the review, if you're new to the Stormlight Archive, don't read it. It has all of the plot of all of the books, at least the major parts. You won't get the emotional journey and the character stories, but you'll get the big plot points that move us from A to B. And if you've already managed to avoid spoilers just in general, reading through the book, especially the history of Roshar, Chapter 4, it's going to take you places. For the most part, with the Cosmere RPG in general, you're in that Words of Radiance, Oathbringer timeline. So, I mean, if you're only on Way of Kings, you're kind of getting some stuff anyway. The artwork alone has spoilers in that regard. But this can be, if you're planning on reading the series and you haven't yet, but you want to get involved in the Cosmere RPG, just know what you're getting into. Know that some of that stuff, some of those bigger plot points are going to be revealed. And if you are, if you're a player and you just want to see all this stuff fresh and maybe you're not super deep into the lore, but you still want to like have fun and participate, maybe skip the book. Own it for when you're finally ready and you've played a couple of campaigns and you've been exposed, but don't rush into just reading straight through it, because if you're still in the process of reading, or if you want the surprise and the discovery while you're on Roshar, it could ruin that. If you're a game master, dive in hard though. Read every page. There's so much lore. There's so many great ideas for how to integrate the people and the places of Roshar into your campaign beyond the campaign book. When I have the video of the campaign book, you'll kind of hear in sort of this section about just how in depth it goes to help you set up scenes and to act things out and to really step into the role of the different NPCs that are, you know, littered throughout the campaign. This just takes that to the extra degree. It's very free form. It's very open. It's ideas and motivations. And again, it's all in plain, simple, not that like elusive kind of, ooh, here's a hint, here's a different perspective you never had before. It's just a straightforward reading, like, here's the deal with honor, and here's the deal with odium, and here's what cultivation is up to. It puts it in very, very plain English, or whatever language you happen to be reading it in. So that's it for my my chat through the World Guide. I feel like in the beginning of the video, it kind of came off as like, ooh, it wasn't the thing that I wanted. It wasn't the thing I expected, but I love it. I love that it is a source of inspiration for how to work Roshar into my campaign. I love how detailed it is. I love the beautiful art. It's the kind of thing that now that I have the digital edition, I'm probably going to read through a couple of times, but when the physical edition comes in, it's going on the shelf. Like, it is, at that point, a piece of art, just like my leather bounds, just like all the other cool stuff that I've got up there. It is going to be just a fantastic reference piece to augment other sources like the Copper Mine and 17th Shard, where I get a ton of my lore information as it is. And for that, I absolutely love it. It meets my expectation in that way. It was just more than I maybe thought I even wanted. I didn't know that I needed these extra systems and ideas about how to work Roshar into my campaign. So I love it. You won't get a ton of negativity out of this channel either. So maybe other people will have different expectations and look at it in different ways. But I love what Brotherwise is doing. I love what they represent. I love Dragonsteel and what they represent in terms of, you know, being a force in the literary world. And this channel is focused on sharing that and the positivity that comes along with that. So that's what you'll get from me for the most part. I think at some point in this video, I've probably mentioned this already, but I'm cutting these things up at different times. So I hope I'm not being too repetitive, but I love this stuff. That's why I make a channel. It's why I have fun doing this. So if that's the kind of vibe you want, hang out, subscribe. The YouTube channel, Invested in the Cosmere, also the website, investedinthecosmere.com. I've been light on the website while I'm getting this YouTube stuff spooled up, so I'm going to be going back to that, especially now that the Cosmere RPG is out, and I can actually make really good content for it and know that it's going to be factual. I'm going to be redoing some of my older, like the Making Radiance series. I'm going to do that as a full compendium with combat encounters and endeavors and scenes and the like. So that'll be coming out. I have a ton of maps. I have some scenarios. I have some secret stuff, some Nexus things that I'm not quite ready to talk about, but will still be super exciting. So get in now, subscribe. It's all free. It's always free. At least, you know, for now, I don't really see any reason to monetize this stuff. I do it for fun. It's just a fun hobby for me. It's never going to be my career. I just don't see myself being like a career YouTube person. So I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it because I love the Cosmere. And as long as the Cosmere is around and there's new stuff to talk about, I'm going to continue to do this stuff for fun. So hang out. Thanks for watching. Check out the other videos. Stay tuned for more. And we'll see you on the next one.